Hi, I'm Katie, facialist and founder of Relax, a natural high performance skin studio in Hackney, and thank you for buying my Relax Gua Sha tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to properly use your Relax Gua Sha tool in order to yield the absolute best results possible. We're going to be focusing on lifting, toning and depuffing. We're also going to be working on any kind of skin complaint, for example acne, rosacea or any fine lines. Gua Sha is my favorite practice to do on myself and on my clients, so I'm so excited that you'll be able to do it at home. Thank you again for joining me and I hope you enjoy. So I've just cleansed my skin with the Elixir Gummy Cleanser. We always do Gua Sha on cleansed skin. I'm just applying a little bit of the Skin and Tonic Rose Mist, another really gorgeous product for hydrating. And now I'm just popping on a little bit of the Elixir Cacao oil, one of my favorite oils. So we're going to apply the massage medium, the oil, to the face and neck. So when doing Gua Sha, always use an oil and always work on cleansed skin. So I'm going to be working with the Relax Gua Sha tool today. We have two Gua Sha tools, Bian Stone Gua Sha, which is a mineral rich stone. It's great for anti-aging and antioxidants, so it's rich in antioxidants, so great for city dwellers. The white jade has more healing properties and anti-anxiety properties, so it's great for skin that's stressed, skin that's inflamed, so more for anti-aging, more for inflammatory skin disorders. Today I'm going to be using the Bian Stone to give myself a little bit of anti-aging love. So before we start, we're just going to work on the neck a little bit. So using these two fingers, placing them just underneath the ear, just behind the jaw, we're just going to do some little circles. I start all of my massages like this. Any work on the face, it's so important to work on the neck first before going on to the face, as the neck is the main motorway into the face. It brings blood and therefore oxygen and nutrients to the face, and also it takes away any lymph. We're going to be working a lot on the lymphatic system today. The lymphatic system is one of the body's main detoxification pathways. It has lots of lymph nodes. We have lots here behind our ears. We're going to create some little fists now and work down the neck to the collarbone. We have lots above our collarbones, under our arms. We have a big central reservoir here, lots here, and also in areas where we are kind of quite prone to congestion and breakouts. A few guidelines before we go on to using our Gua Sha tools. You can keep working down the neck and I'll just show you. So when we're using the tool, we're going to be using it as flat to the skin as possible, and we're going to be pulling, not pushing. So pulling, not pushing. This means that we're going to be using both of our hands. We're not going to be using the tool on the hard edge, we're going to be using it flat to the skin like spreading butter. Don't work over any broken or inflamed areas, any active acne, cuts, bruises, inflamed rosacea, burst capillaries, eczema, psoriasis. Nothing about this practice should be painful. If you're experiencing pain, reduce pressure or avoid the area. When I'm showing you the routine, so I'll take you through it today, I'm not going to say do this 5 times, do this 5 times. And the reason is that you need to feel how your skin is feeling. For one person, doing 3 or 4 strokes in a certain area may be enough. For another person, they may be able to do 15, 20, 25, and the skin will still, you know, not be flushing or feeling uncomfortable at all. How you know when enough is enough for you is when the skin starts to get a tiny bit pink, or if you start to feel any heat, prickly sensations, any discomfort. As I said, nothing about this practice should be painful or uncomfortable. Harder is not better. Same with any practice on the face, harder is not better. You'll not yield better results by using harder pressure if it is hurting, it does not mean it's working. So please be kind to yourself. It is possible to burst blood vessels if you go too hard. This is a practice, this is an exploration of your face, of your facial muscles, how you're feeling. It'll differ from day to day depending on stress, hormones, external factors, internal factors such as sleep, what foods you've eaten. So always be feeling as well as doing. Okay, wonderful. I'm sure your neck's had enough now. So we're gonna start, I'm starting with my right hand because I'm right-handed. We're gonna do one side of the face and use one hand, then we're gonna swap hands and do the second side of the face. So using this big curve, I'm just gonna pop it here under the ear, not on the jaw, on the neck, and just start by working down to the collarbone and doing a little wiggle. With the Gua Sha tool, even if you're doing like just your brow or just your jaw or just under the eyes, always start and finish with some downward strokes on the neck. Here we're just encouraging any lymph to start moving down the neck, away from the face. This is amazing for puffiness, redness, acne. Great thing to do if you're a bit hungover. Nice. Now we've been working down like this, we're just going to turn our hand the other way and work up the neck. And we can come along avoiding this area of the windpipe as it doesn't feel nice to work over the windpipe. And it's nice to apply a little bit of downward pressure underneath the collarbone to get a bit of a stretch through the front of the neck. We can come here under the chin as well. So these muscles spend a lot of time being compressed as we're looking down. So it's great to stretch them out. This is amazing if any lines on the neck are a concern as well. Great. We can also come to work on the back of the neck, so I'm just going to turn around to show you. Using the tool in the same way, we can work up. We have the spine here, so we're not working over the spine, we're working to the side of the spine, these big muscles on the side of the spine, and slightly up the shoulders as well. If you do have a lot of tension in this area and you want to use a little bit harder pressure, you can use any of the hard sides of the tool and do more of a scraping. And if you feel any knots or anything that you want to work into a little bit harder, you can just press and hold. Wonderful. Just coming back to the front of the neck for a second and doing a little bit more work under the chin. So this is great for a lot of people think that they have a double chin, but actually we all have a pocket of fat here, but we're very, very prone to fluid retention in this area. So by doing Gua Sha and working in this area, we can really sculpt it. Avoiding this area. And we're also giving the front of the neck a little stretch here as well. Wonderful. Great. Next we're going to move on to the face, working under the jaw, so under the jaw. If you're using my tool, wiggles to the ceiling and then tip them to face forward, wiggles to the ceiling, tip them to face forward. The serrated edge is on the outside of your face, and we're just going to place our chin on the tool like it's resting on a shelf. Great. Then we're going to pull out towards the side of the face. So we're working underneath the jaw, resting the chin like it's resting on a shelf and pulling out towards the side of the face. You don't have to use your other hand, I just do it habitually. That I just work out on the other side as well. So I'm getting a bit of a double whammy. So this is working underneath the chin and sculpting underneath the jaw. This is a great one if you're very prone to congestion in this area, which a lot of people are. And it's great if you're prone to puffiness, or if the skin is starting to lose elasticity here and you're losing a little bit of tone. This is another lovely one to do because anything that applies pressure to the skin is encouraging blood flow to the area. With blood flow comes oxygen and nutrients for new skin cell turnover. It's feeding the dermal matrix that's made up of collagen and elastin, woven together to keep our skin strong. Really good. Okay, we've been like this. Now we're gonna put the wiggles back to the ceiling and use this little curve here just to cup the jaw. The contour goes into the jaw and we're just gonna work out to the side. If you feel any little gristly bits when you're doing this, you can go over them a couple of times, always working to the outside of the jaw. So this is a great one if you don't have much time and you just want to do a couple of sculpting moves. This is a really lovely one to incorporate. It feels great as well. And the results are really good from working on this area because, like I said, it's a lot of water retention, so you can see a really dramatic difference. Wonderful. Between any of these moves you can come back to working down the neck a little bit. Okay, great. So we've been here, hooked into the jaw, and now we're going to come to here. So we were here, and we're coming here. Wonderful. So from the middle of the chin, we're going to work out towards the masseter muscle. The masseter muscle is this big jaw muscle. So we're working on this area. I find it easier to stick your elbow up in the air rather than working like this. This makes it a little bit harder. You don't have as much of a range of movement. So starting in the middle of the chin, keeping the tool as flat to the skin as possible. So we're not working like this, we're working like this. And we're pulling out to the side of the face. So we're using our whole arm to pull it. If you are prone to congestion in this area, very common, like I said, we have a lot of lymph nodes. In this area we can get stagnant lymph under the skin surface, which means there's a little bit of bacteria that's not moving along, and this can kind of create some breakouts in the skin. Never work over the breakouts, but say I have one here or an area of congestion here. I'm not working over it, but I'm working around it, pumping up towards the ear, give it a little wiggle, and then come down the neck. If this is an area of concern for you, just do this every night. Pump, pump, pump to the side of the face and down the neck. Just a few times every evening. It'll literally take you 20 seconds on each side. Wonderful. If when you're moving out towards the jaw, the masseter muscle, if you don't know what that is, clench your teeth together and you'll feel it pop out. Release the jaw, and then we can work on that area. If here you're getting stuck on the masseter muscle, start to do some wiggles into the muscle. So we're encouraging blood flow to the area. If you do have a lot of tension here, this can be very, very tender. It can feel quite strong. So just go at your own pace, use a pressure that is comfortable for you. Remember, harder is not better. Wonderful. We can do some repetitive strokes over this big muscle. Quite light, fast and light. Whenever we're working fast, we go light. If we're working deep, we go slow, super slow. Wonderful. If you did want to do some deeper work into this muscle, using the pointiest point on the Relax Gua Sha tool, you can feel this big muscle, see if you feel any juicy points, and just press and hold. And this can feel very, very strong if you have a lot of tension, very strong. Release whenever it becomes too much, and you can go again, press and hold. Release. You can also do some little static circles, press and hold, do some static circles. You can move around the big muscle and do it in different areas. Always keeping some space between the top and bottom jaw. We don't want to be contracting this muscle by clenching the muscle that we're trying to release. You can also do some bigger circles, which is not as strong, it feels quite nice. If at any point during this tutorial you want to spend more time in a certain area, just pause the video and you can spend as much time as you like in each area. Really nice. Then just doing some more comforting strokes. Wonderful. So we have been here, and next we're going to move up to here, working on this muscle, the rosacea muscle, the muscle that contracts to make us smile. And we're just going to follow a similar pathway, just working, focusing kind of on this area. not going as far out as we were before. If you are someone who does carry a lot of tension in the jaw, all of these muscles will be carrying tension, as we know that no muscles work in isolation, all the buccal muscles work together. Wonderful. Really nice. Okay, next we're going to place these wiggles above and below the lips. So here we're working on the orbicularis ori, this round muscle that goes around the mouth, a muscle that's very often neglected. So this one is great for smokers, for anyone who carries a lot of tension around the mouth. You guys can keep going. For anyone who's experiencing any lines around the mouth, signs of aging around the mouth, lips starting to lose a little bit of fullness. Wonderful. Okay, so next we're going to move up to work underneath the zygomatic arch. So if you feel where your cheek is and you feel where your cheek isn't, up underneath, that is in your zygomatic arch. So we were here for the risorius and now we're just keeping the tool in the same place, wiggles to the ceiling, serrated edge to the outside of the face, and working up and under the zygomatic arch. So although the direction we're going in is that way, the pressure that we're applying is kind of up under the cheekbone. Keeping the tool as flat to the skin surface as possible, and this can feel quite strong. If you feel you're getting a little bit stuck here where the jaw meets the skull, you can just do some vibrations into that area. If you have a lot of jaw tension, it's likely that you'll have a lot of tension underneath this arch. This is a wonderful one for sculpting the face, sculpting those cheekbones. Wonderful. Next we're going to come to work on the nasolabial fold, or the nasolabial line that runs from the nose, the side of the nose, down to the corner of the mouth. And keeping the tool in the same position, so we were here underneath the zygomatic arch, we're just going to start to do some tiny lifts into this area. And then drain to the outside, give a little wiggle with the ear, helping to just move along some of that fluid. Wonderful. If your concern is the actual line here and you're using my tool, you can use the serrated edge to pull the skin tight with your hands. You can even put your lips like and create some brisk friction movements perpendicular to the line. If this feels a bit too clunky, you can use any hard edge of the tool, so using the pointiest point is quite good. Just to create friction. You just need to do a little bit, then see how the skin is looking. You don't want to burst any blood vessels or cause any bruises. So these are not moves to be done mindlessly in front of the TV or something like that. They are to be done mindfully, and always notice how you're feeling as well as what you're doing. Okay, so taking the big curve, we can continue to work into this line, encouraging a little bit of lift. So placing the curve, serrated edge to the ceiling, placing the curve here, we're just going to lift all the way up to the hairline, keeping the tool as flat to the skin as possible. So here we're lifting around these nasolabial folds, also a little bit on the depressors. The depressors are these muscles underneath the mouth that can pull the mouth down, so we do a little frown, and also across the cheekbones. So this is a lovely move. keeping the tool in the same position, we can change the angle to work on any area of the face or cheek to encourage some lifting. So working here from just underneath the mouth up to the hairline. Then moving across the face, keeping the tool as flat as possible to the skin surface. And this can be an exploration, see what feels good for you. You can target any areas of concern that you may have. We can also place this tool next to the nose and work out towards the side of the face. Keeping the tool as flat as possible. Again, the tool is quite big, so you can kind of cover quite a large surface area, which is amazing because it means that you don't have to do lots of tiny moves. You can just do a few if you're in a hurry and get really, really good results. Wonderful. Okay, great. Next, we're going to come to work underneath the eye. So keeping the tool in the same position, using a really, really light pressure, working quite close to the eye line, lash line, working over the orbital bone and just going out to the side of the head and giving a little wiggle. So you want to use a really, really light pressure here. What we're trying to work on is very, very superficial to the skin surface. So the lymph and the blood is what causes a bluish tinge under the eyes as it oxidizes, as it's so close to the skin surface. The lymph is also just there. And remember, we're working over bone. So be gentle with yourself here. Wonderful. If we wanted to work on any puffiness in this area, we can caterpillar the tool a little bit like this. So I'm using my first finger to do like a little moonwalk. Little moonwalk. A little caterpillar move. At no point do I lose contact with the skin. I keep contact at all times. Just doing little caterpillar. So the idea is that you're pumping the lymph, just like the heart pumps blood around the body, you're pumping the lymph. If you've ever had any manual lymphatic draining or lymphatic massage, they will pump to move that fluid, as the lymphatic system does not have its own pump. That's why things can get a little bit stagnant sometimes, or a little bit stuck, leading to puffiness. If you think of someone who has loss of mobility, how they get fluid pooling in their extremities, edema, that's what it is, it's lymph. Great. We can also turn this tool so that the big curve cups the eye, serrated edge next to the nose, and just hinging from this corner that's just next to the eyes, we're hinging around like this. Great for dark circles, helping to bring fresh blood to the area. And using our fourth finger, we can also do a little pumping motion down, just like we were doing upwards. These ones take a little bit of practice, so don't worry. If you need to pause the video at any point to practice a little bit, please do. Okay, great. To work on any fine lines, we can pull the skin a little bit taut, so I'm just pulling up a little bit with my other hand. Using the tool, the serrated edge again, we can go up and down so gently, just to create a little bit of friction in this area. Great for fine lines, as we're encouraging the blood flow to this area. This is super light. Wonderful. And then using the big curve serrated edge to the ceiling, just working on the side of the eye here, we can lift to the hairline. Lift, lift. Again, feels wonderful. I love working around the eyes, it's so comforting and soothing. But also really nice just to lift and help with any fine lines there. Okay, great. Next, coming to work on the 11th, so these lines that are created by the corrugator muscles pushing in towards the center and pushing out this middle in the middle called the procerus muscle. So these two lines form on either side of this central muscle due to these muscles. So to target these lines, we need to release tension from these muscles first. Using our tool, wiggles to the ceiling, serrated edge to the outside, we're just going to stroke over the brow. If you have tension in these muscles, they can be very, very tender. If you don't normally work on them, then they will feel sensitive. So just take it at your own pace. As always, harder is not better. And try and notice what you're feeling as well as what you're doing. I know sometimes when you're learning something new, it can be a little bit tricky because you're so focused on what the hand is doing, but try and tune in as well to how the face is feeling. Wonderful. Now that the brows will be a little bit warmed up, we've encouraged some blood flow to them, we can do a little bit deeper work. So pinching the corrugator muscle, your eyebrow muscle, just to see where it is, we're going to use this little point to run underneath the muscle. So can you see how the top of my muscle pops out here and I'm going underneath and along? It can feel a little bit strange, but also it's a really, really lovely release. We can also get this first finger involved. So directly above the tool, we're going to press and hold and release. Move to the next area. Press and hold and release. Press and hold and release. Press and hold and release. And you can repeat this a couple of times. Press and hold and release. Press and hold and release. Press and hold and release. Press and hold. And do a couple of compassing strokes. I find that one really strong. Really nice. Okay, to work on these lines now, the actual line, we pull the skin taut, work on one line at a time, and you can either work using the serrated edge, going back and forth, so side to side across the line. We work perpendicular to the line. A word that I have learnt for Gua Sha workshops, perpendicular. Or if you feel that this is too big for that little area, you can use the pointiest point at the top of this one, at the top of the wiggles, pull the skin taut or tight, and do some brisk light movements. So remember, whenever we're going fast, we're going light. So this area, the forehead, the forehead and between the brows does not have a lot of fat compared to these areas or our cheeks. So be mindful with the pressure that you're using because it is possible to burst blood vessels here. So it's advisable just to do a little bit and then have a look at how the skin is looking. Do a little bit more. See how the skin is looking rather than just going for it. We can use the same technique on the brow if you have a line that you want to work on. Pull the skin tight and work perpendicular to the line, so up and down here. Do a little bit, see how you're looking. And I would really recommend working on one line at a time rather than trying to do your whole forehead, because honestly it's a recipe for disaster. If you ignore everything else I've said, just listen to this one thing. Wonderful. To work a bit more into this these frontalis muscles, so the frontalis muscles are these muscles here, they go back into the hairline and they're the ones that contract to pull up the eyebrows. We can use the big curve, so wiggles to the ceiling, serrated edge to the other side of your face now. So for me it's to the left hand side of my face, so I'm working with my right hand. And we can just work up and go into the hairline. So just to show you what I'm doing without the hands, I'm keeping the tool as flat to the skin as possible and I'm working up, very gently actually. I'm not using a huge amount of pressure. And then I'm just using the other hand for a bit of support. You can do some wiggles into the hairline, which can feel quite nice, especially if you have got a lot of tension in this area, a lot of tension across the brow, or if lines are a concern. I actually love working on this area. I find it so relaxing. It's like all your worries melt away. Actually, in facial reflexology, the forehead is the brain, so the mind. I'm just doing kind of more one half of my face, and then I'll do the other side of my brow when I come back, but you can do it all at once if you like. It's not a problem. See, you can just go all the way across here. And it feels really, really good. You can also work outwards, so working a little bit under the eyebrows here as well, over the temporalis muscles, so your temples. Really nice. And then just working a bit down the neck. Great, and that is one side of the face done. Can you feel the difference? Does one side feel more lifted? Does the skin on one side feel a little bit tighter, warmer? See how you're feeling. So moving on to the second side, so we swap hands and we're going to start working down the neck using this big curve, serrated edge to the ceiling, popping it just behind, underneath the ear, behind the jaw, and working down and giving a little wiggle. Great. Just turning our hand around, we can also work up the neck, avoiding the windpipe. Applying a little bit of downwards pressure just beneath the collarbone. We can also come to work underneath the chin here. If you're using your non-dominant hand, I promise this is a practice and it will start to feel more natural the more you do it. I know it can feel strange working with your non-dominant hand, but you will get used to it. Great, and also working on the back of the neck. Or if you have a lot of tension here, you can do more of a scraping to release a little bit more tension. Back to the front of the neck quickly, and we'll just do a little bit more work underneath the chin. Great, okay. Going to move on to work, moving on to the face now. Wiggles to the ceiling, serrated edge to the outside, and we just tip the tool forward and rest our chin on it like we're resting on a shelf, and we're gonna lift that elbow up and pull to the outside of our face. We're working underneath the jaw here, and also underneath the chin. If you wanted to involve your second hand, you always can. I think touch, especially in even in self-practice, is really, really wonderful. If you're still getting used to the tool, then that's enough for you. That's not a problem. Wonderful. So we've been here, and next we're going to put the wiggles back to the ceiling using this little curve here. We're just going to hook it into the jaw and work out towards the side of the face. If you feel any little gristly bits, you can spend a little bit longer on them. Always working to the outside of the face. A really great one for if you're in a hurry and you just want to do a little bit of sculpting work. Wonderful. So we've been here, and next we're moving to here. So we've been here, and we're moving to here, center of the chin. We're going to be working on this area, so working from the chin out towards masseter muscle, keeping the tool as flat to the skin as possible, and pulling outwards. If we wanted to do a little bit more work into this big muscle, we can do some quicker strokes over it. We can use the pointiest point to do a little bit of acupressure into it. This can feel super strong. You can move around the muscle, do some static circles, or do some bigger circles, which can feel a bit more comforting. Wonderful. If you're someone that suffers from congestion in this area, you can do some pumping, working towards the outside. Great. And just come down the neck. If you are someone that suffers from congestion in this area, I would recommend doing that every evening, and it will really, really help. Great. So we've been here, wiggles to the ceiling, straight edge to the outside, and next we're going to come here next to the corner of the mouth and just move outwards to work on this muscle, the rosacea muscle that contracts to make us smile. I'm going to go through this side a little bit quicker, just so I don't keep you guys here all day. Wonderful. Next, placing the curves above and below the lips to work on this orbicularis ori muscle. Wonderful. Great for smokers, great for anyone who's seeing signs of aging around the mouth. Next, we're going to be working up underneath the zygomatic arch, so underneath the cheekbone. We're moving outwards, but the pressure is a little bit upwards. We're using the tool in the same position as it was next to the mouth, so wiggles to the ceiling, serrated edge to the outside, and just coming up underneath that zygomatic arch. If you feel you're getting a little bit stuck at the hinge, where the jaw meets the skull, you can do some little vibrations. I find it so much harder to vibrate or wiggle with my left hand. Wonderful. Next, coming to work on this nasolabial fold, nasolabial line that runs from the nose to the corner of the mouth. Using the short edge, we're just going to do some repetitive strokes. So either like this, or you can involve your hand as well. Great. If the line is a concern, you can pull the skin tight. I'm going to use my right hand for this again. Pull the skin tight. Put your lips like this. And perpendicular to the line, do some friction movements. If that feels too clunky, you can use the little point. Great. If you want to do some lifting into this line, working with the same side as your face, put the curve into the line and work up towards the hairline, keeping the tool as flat as possible to the skin. A lovely one for lifting. You can also change the angle so that you're working on any part of the face, working from lower down to higher up. Great. We can also use this on the side of the nose, working out towards the ear and giving a little wiggle. Great for sculpting the cheeks, great for any puffiness, great for any congestion in the sinuses as well. This will also help decrease blackheads over time on the nose or sides of the nose, as it's pulling away stagnant lymph from that area. Great. We can also come to work underneath the eye, using a very, very light pressure, just sliding out towards the side. Keeping it super light here. We can also use our top finger to create a little caterpillar movement. So it's like the tool is moonwalking. So all I'm doing is wiggling the top finger like this to move the tool. Wonderful. We can also cup the eye with the big curved serrated edge next to the nose, wiggles to the floor, and just do little semicircles out towards the corner of the face, the side of the face. Great for helping move away any oxidized blood under the skin and bring fresh blood to the area to help deal with dark circles or any bluish tinge underneath the eye. Here we can use the serrated edge to work on any fine lines, going very lightly, pulling the skin tight, working super lightly. Wonderful. We can also use this big curve, serrated edge to the ceiling, just to lift the side of the eye here. Again, if you want to pause the video at any point and spend longer on any area, please do. Great, next moving on to the brow. So wiggles to the ceiling, serrated edge to the side of the face, and we're just going to stroke over the eyebrows. This can feel very tender if you keep a lot of tension here. This is great for helping with any lines, these lines. As we're releasing tension from the muscle that is responsible for those lines, the corrugator muscle. Wonderful. Now just pinching your eyebrow to see where we're going to be working. We're going to use this point underneath the muscle. So you'll see it pops out on top here as I'm working underneath the muscle. This can feel a little bit weird, but it's great at releasing tension. We can also get our first finger involved and pinch and hold. 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 Just repeating once more. Great. If you want to do some work on this line, I'm swapping back to my right hand because I'm not dexterous enough. Pull the skin tight and work back and forth either with the serrated edge or the little point. Do it a few times, have a look at how your skin's looking, make sure it's not getting too pink or red. Just be kind to these lines. You have to treat them with love if you want to see good results. If you treat them with hate, you're not going to see good results. You're going to see burst blood vessels. Same with any lines on the forehead, just work on one at a time. Pull the skin tight and use light, brisk movements. This is also great if you have any under the skin congestion, bumpiness, as it's just encouraging blood flow and lymph to kind of move to and from the area. We can also work up the frontalis here. You may have already done it when we were working on the forehead before, but it's always lovely to do again. Working up into the hairline. You can also work out, keeping the tool as flat to the skin surface as possible, so not working with the hard edge. Wonderful. And to finish, we're just going to do some strokes down the neck to the collarbone. And you're all done. Give your hands a little shake. Amazing. Thank you again for purchasing the Relax Gua Sha tutorial. I hope you are feeling lifted and radiant. Check out our other tutorials, the Relax Signature Facial Massage tutorial and the Relax Sculptural Facelifting and Intraoral tutorial. Have a wonderful day and I hope to see you at the studio soon.